Okay, Mulholland Drive. Someone recommended this film to me. It's the first time I actually saw it, which of course been 14 years after it was released. This is a very, very well done and well thought out David Lynch film. I'll hit right now with people do compare David Lynch somewhat with Nolan a lot because they do a similar feel for their films where Nolan is going to have a shot that lingers a little bit to give you more of the epic scale. Lynch has a scene linger a little bit longer because there's some sort of random bit that you can pick up from that is going to be the answer to a question you don't even know exists yet. Sound confusing? That's kind of Mulholland Drive. Ironically, if you hit some of the different websites, you can find people who actually go through, here's the correct sequence to watch the scenes after watching the DVD to have it all make sense, have it all flow smoothly. The story, for the most part, is pretty coherent. It's multifaceted, but it was really designed to be a TV series. So, small segments here and there that all fit into a larger, cohesive moment make sense for an actual series, an actual TV series. In the movie, it feels kind of disjointed. What is your basic premise? Naomi Watts is someone who's from farther up north, won a jitterbug competition, and wants to become an actress. That is one section of the story. You have a woman who gets involved in a car accident right off the bat, who has amnesia, who spends time with Naomi Watts. There's your second slice of the story. You have the people who are trying to find the woman who had the car accident. There's your third slice of the story. You have a person who is working on a movie who is trying to recast his lead. That is your fourth slice of the story. And they all occasionally intertwine and have moments where they interconnect. And it all feels pretty fluid, pretty coherent until it hits the Lynch wall. Halfway through the third act, this film, which has moments where you're like, okay, I'm picturing how all these different pieces kind of fit somewhat. And then towards the end, you're like, and I thought, okay. Okay, there's an awful lot of smoke effects now, and lots of bizarre kind of randomness. And also you're like, and silencio. Alright, and that's the end of the film. And that's when all the theories come in. Overall, this is a very good experience. I don't want to call it a great film, but it's a really great experience. Because you have to watch it, and this is one of those ones where it's got, you might see something, or you'll hear a phrase. That phrase will get repeated later on. When you first heard it, when you heard it a second time, it might be like, oh, okay, there's a lot of the same phrase going on. But you'll hear the phrase, and the phrase will have an action dictated with it. If you memorize all of the independent actions that are related to that phrase, all of a sudden you see a larger arc that makes more sense depending on whatever sort of theory you want to go with. Like I said, as a film, it's difficult. Someone said it's like Memento. Memento is easy. Memento is going forward and then backwards. Forward and then backwards. It's a loop. Memento makes sense. This film is like, here's your first scene. Well, your first scene is actually like, midway point of the movie. Okay, here's your end credit scene. Here's your scene before the credits. That actually falls in the middle of the film. So this is kind of like if someone were to take 12 portions of a film and then kind of go, and 1, you'll stay here. 2, you'll be part 7, which was part 7, you'll be part 2. So that kind of makes it very disjointed to watch, unless you're in David Lynch. It's going to be a unique viewing experience. It might not make perfect sense. It might not be A, B, C, D, E. It's more or less A, D, B, E, C. And then when you're done, You have to remember enough of the film to kind of put your pieces back together again. Is it an alternate reality state? Is it the throes of a death dream? Is it a dream? Is it a dream within a dream? Are there multiple people who believe they're other people? Are all the characters actually there? There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of options with it. But all in all, very well done film. The last half an hour, had the film stopped at like 2 hours, I think everyone would walk away with a very, very small amount of ideas as to what the film was about. It's that last half an hour that just throws everything at it. It's full of Lynchiness. That opens up essentially a Pandora's box, just full of goody-goody gumdrops.